Hello everybody, and welcome back to Cam Critiques. You'd struggle to find another video game series with a history quite like that of Sonic the Hedgehog. It's a franchise packed to the brim with incredible peaks and dismal lows. A series that, despite nearly 2 decades of mostly poor reception, has managed to scrape by simply based on its legacy and the occasional modern gem. But if Sonic has always been anything, it's popular. So it shouldn't be too much of a surprise that he's gotten the dreaded video game movie treatment. However, much like the video game series itself, Sonic's history in film is just as bizarre. So today, I'll be discussing the various movies that feature the blue blur. When I mention Sonic films, I'm sure just about everyone's mind first drifts to the series of Paramount-produced blockbusters of recent years. But there's actually one Sonic movie that came out before then. Well, kind of. Sonic the Hedgehog the movie released in the US on September 7th, 1999, the same day as Sonic Adventure. With a name like that, it's hard to deny that this is, well, a movie. But that wasn't always the case. Sonic the Hedgehog the movie saw its initial release in the form of a 2-part OVA. Primarily created by Pierro, known for their work on the likes of Naruto and Bleach, that was its production overseen by Sonic Team. This anime miniseries, film It's Complicated, was distributed on a rental-only basis for months before it saw any sort of retail release, even in Japan. It's clear that this was never intended to be a major motion picture of any sort, and it's very odd that it left Japan more than 3 years after its initial release with a full English dub and movie in the title. This, let's just call it a film for simplicity's sake, focuses on Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles fighting Robotnik, as you might expect, though it strays surprisingly far from the original series while sticking to its fantasy roots. Its story takes place in the unique world of Planet Freedom, split into 2 separate realms. Sonic and Tails live in the Land of the Sky, while Robotnik rules over Robotropolis, one of the few inhabited areas in the Land of Darkness. This world setup is nothing like what we've seen in any Sonic games, comics, or cartoons, before the film's release or since. The movie also features a good deal of original characters, some with pretty major roles. The President, his daughter Sarah, and an owl only credited as Old Man Owl are all kind of vital to the story, especially Sarah. This film makes a lot of really strange choices throughout. It regularly hints that Planet Freedom is a post-apocalyptic Earth, with a key fight taking place in what appears to be the ruins of New York City. The movie features non-robotic humans like the President and maybe Sarah. She just has a tail for some reason, so it's not totally clear exactly what she is. Sonic and Tails even seem to live in the remains of a long-abandoned Boeing 747. But, despite all these departures from all of the previous Sonic storylines, this film absolutely nails the appeal of Sonic the Hedgehog. The real highlight here is the visuals. There's a surprising amount of variety in locations, and they all fit in the Sonic universe quite well, even if they are apparently kind of on planet Earth. And the action is outstanding. The animation style and quality is very reminiscent of Sonic CD's intro. The fights are unique, focusing on abilities like Sonic's super speed and Knuckles' glide. They're fast-paced, they're exciting, and they're still easy to follow. This film's portrayal of the Sonic cast is pretty much perfect, which is rare to see. Sonic is rebellious, he's got an attitude, but he's still noble and heroic. Tails is a little naive and he doesn't have the confidence of Sonic, but he's just as heroic all the same. Knuckles is stubborn, but he isn't stupid. Even Metal Sonic has some great fitting character moments here, especially near the end. The only real problem I have is that this was never intended to be a movie, and it shows. Its runtime is under an hour. Its world isn't as fleshed out as I would have liked, and its English dub, the only version to feature a movie in its title, isn't great. This movie looks great, it fits Sonic well, and given a longer runtime, a better dub cast, and a theatrical release, I believe it could have been a real success. It perfectly captures what makes Sonic cool. But the biggest chance it was given was a cheap direct-to-video release that came out the same day Sonic Adventure made these character portrayals outdated. All in all, this is probably the best Sonic film, even if it arguably doesn't even qualify as a film. But it did not see much success, though it's no surprise that there wasn't any sort of follow-up for a long time. Sonic got his first real shot at success on the silver screen in 2020's Sonic the Hedgehog, which I'm sure you've all heard of. From the moment viewers got their first look, this movie was quite popular, though it wasn't exactly for the right reasons. When 2020's Sonic film got its first trailer, it immediately went viral. People just could not believe how ugly they had made Sonic. The abomination at the film center was such a huge departure from that of the games. It just looked uncanny. It probably led to the most mainstream attention Sonic had seen in well over a decade, but not for any of the right reasons. So things were off to a pretty bad start. Pretty soon after this trailer's debut, the film was pushed back, and Paramount announced they were reworking how Sonic would look on the big screen. And when fans saw Sonic's new model, it got just about an equal but opposite reaction. It mostly fit in with the real-world setting of the upcoming movie, but it was faithful enough to clearly be Sonic. He was much more recognizable and much less repulsive. They'd even brought Tyson Hesse, beloved by the fans for his work on the Sonic comics, on to help. So that gave them some pretty good PR. But even still, I don't think people expected a lot from this movie. The only Sonic characters in it were Sonic and Robotnik. It was the buddy cop film set in the United States. It just seemed more Alvin and the Chipmunks than Sonic the Hedgehog. In a bizarre twist of fate though, it launched a considerable box office success and fan praise. Despite the odd premise and the once horrible CG Sonic, this film seemed to make fans happy. Now personally, I don't know if I'd agree with the fans here. Sonic's new model did look nice, and Robotnik was great, but the movie was chock full of unoriginal, immature humor, none of the human characters were likable, and Sonic didn't act like Sonic. You could have replaced Sonic with any other fast animal or alien or whatever, and I never would have thought this was supposed to be a Sonic film. Sonic's not cool here, he's just some random kid. However, compared to its contemporaries in terms of both live-action CG hybrids and video game movies, this film was great. It's a huge step above the likes of 2011's Hop, which similarly featured James Marsden, and 2016's Assassin's Creed. The movie had some great Easter eggs and some cool action scenes. It was a solid kids blockbuster, and it was definitely better than Sonic's most recent mainline game, Enforces. But it just didn't feel like a Sonic movie to me. Hell, I'd argue that Olive Garden Spring is more accurate representation than that of the Hedgehog. So now, Sonic had both a great adaptation of the game's appeal in film form with the most bizarre release possible in 1999's Sonic movie, and it had a huge blockbuster with a premise that didn't really fit Sonic at all in 2020's Sonic movie. With the success of the latter, it was clear that we'd get more. And this brings us to the most recent Sonic film as of the making of this video, 2022's Sonic the Hedgehog 2, a direct follow-up to 2020's Sonic movie. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 maintains the setting and cast from the first Sonic the Hedgehog, but this time it actually tries to be a Sonic movie. Tails and Knuckles are there, the Master Emerald is there, and Sonic starts to develop into something that's at least a bit like he is in the games. Seeing how the previous film failed to capture the appeal of Sonic, I had low expectations with regards to Knuckles and Tails. And I do feel like Tails falls similarly flat. He's kinda just another kid. But Knuckles, despite obviously taking more than a few cues from the likes of Guardians of the Galaxy's Drax, has one of his best portrayals in any Sonic media in years. Maybe that's just because the games have been handling him so poorly in my opinion, with Knuckles ultimately just becoming an idiot through a tragic process of Flanderization. But Knuckles was fun to watch, and genuinely likable, for the first time in a long time. Sonic 2 even goes out of its way to try to turn the human world elements into something closer to Sonic. Instead of the generic military, you get Gun of Sonic Adventure 2 fame. Instead of fight scenes built around San Francisco, we get fight scenes built around an Angel Island-esque temple that was hidden beneath the ocean. There's also much less time spent on the human characters. Instead of being accompanied by a random cop throughout, Sonic fights with Tails here. After decades of trying, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is finally what I'd expect a Sonic the Hedgehog movie to be. It has a big budget, it got a theatrical release, and it tries to capture the appeal of Sonic. It includes elements from the games, and it features other Sonic characters like Tails and Knuckles. Though even still, it feels a bit held back by the constraints set upon it by the first film's bizarre approach. I'd still rather see Sonic hanging out with his many animal friends, not Tom Wachowski from Montana. I've yet to mention one noteworthy project that never saw the light of day. Sonic the Hedgehog Wonders of the World was the very first Sonic movie that went into production, though it never released, primarily because it was heavily tied to the cancelled Sonic Extreme, the Sega Saturn's killer app that never made it to the market. It was set to feature Sonic entering the real world where he would fight with a new human friend to stop Robotnik, much like the 2020 film. Though it seemed like it would have portrayed Sonic in a way that was much more accurate to his games. He wouldn't be some random lonely alien, he'd be the Sonic we already know. The film also had plans to use elements from the Sonic games like the Chaos Emeralds. It's a little wild to think that nearly 3 days before the release of the 2020 film, Sega had similar, though I'd argue superior, plans. This could have been the Sonic movie to get a big budget and a theatrical release while utilizing an accurate representation of the character that we arguably still haven't seen today. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is absolutely the closest thing we have to a Sonic movie that feels like Sonic and feels like a movie. But the ride there is quite convoluted and extremely bizarre. For a video game series, Sonic probably has the cleanest track record of film adaptations among its peers. Frankly, Sonic's film track record is much more solid than his game track record. but each and every one of his movies has been plagued with bizarre problems and featured bizarre elements. Maybe one day we'll get a real Sonic movie that tries to capture the character's appeal in the same way cartoons like Sonic X do. But for now, we'll just have to look forward to seeing how those behind the recent movies try to retrofit their film series into actually being about the Sonic franchise with the upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog 3.